All right, lots of news, of course, there always is. So RFK Jr. has said that we shouldn't vaccinate people for measles. We should let them catch measles because that's the best way to prevent measles. Because that way they develop more immunity. Remember, a lot of people said that about COVID. The best way to prevent COVID is let it spread and get herd immunity, this is something that I've heard the Buddhists often say, that people who advocate violence are creating what they claim they want to prevent. And now he wants to just let bird flu spread on the poultry farms, because he said after that you'll find which chickens are immune, and then you can raise them. And so, again, and the scientists say this is garbage. There's not even 10% of them are immune to this disease. It's the kind of disease where the immune system doesn't get a chance to respond, and this is not a possibility. Now, if you wanted to say we wanted to carefully breed chickens and create a new kind of chicken that's not vulnerable, that has been done sometimes with fruit and stuff. They made a different version of a fruit that is not vulnerable to a disease. We also have vaccines that will stop this, and other nations are actually vaccinating their chickens. They aren't doing it in America because other nations will refuse to take the meat. So that's why the current system is to keep slaughtering the whole herds of chickens, and then the government recompenses them instead of vaccinating them, because if you did that, we would have the eggs, but we wouldn't be able to sell the meat. So it's like the people in Europe that won't take GMO meat, they also won't take vaccinated meat, which is a shame. But anyway.
So they don't even take the antibiotics then?
I think they let that through, but they won't. They say they won't take vaccinated chickens. They're probably afraid of the mRNA. I imagine that the same myths about mRNA are spreading there as here. And to be fair, mRNA is new. So it is possible there's something wrong with it that's not wrong with the other vaccines, but there's no evidence of that so far. And that's why deploying it in a case like COVID, where it's killing 1% of the people, it's clearly worth it. Whatever might be wrong with the mRNA, it certainly affects far less than 1% of the people. So it's better than getting COVID.
The only claim I had read about is that the protein vector is not absorbed, the mRNA technology is not absorbed by the body. So you have this particle, this vector that even after months and months is still circulating in your body. And the question is, what will we doing after so much time?
I hadn't heard of that, but I did hear that a couple cases in a million get a heart inflammation, pericarditis. There are a few very, very, very rare side effects of the actual vaccination, but much better. It's better than COVID.
In terms of numbers, those were expected. They blew up those cases, those few cases.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's his latest plan, and this is just what we all were afraid of. I was afraid of. I think about RFK Jr. He's anti-science, illogical. He's crazy. Putting him in charge of our health care system makes as much sense as putting Trump in charge of our government. In both cases, you're putting a lunatic in who has no idea how to do his job and will do the opposite of his job. Anyway, the Pentagon, now it's come out, which is kind of interesting to know. This proves what we all thought. There's been a lot of scandals about the Pentagon erased the Navajo Code Talkers off their website. They erased Jackie Robinson off the website, and they said, why would you do these stupid things? Because they used AI. They programmed an AI to remove anything that appears to have to do with diversity. And it then erased all sorts of things, like it erased the flag raising at Iwo Jima, because that included a Native American. And, I heard yesterday today they had they're questioning whether maybe Trump can just fire all the heads of agencies that are women. And they're saying, yeah, that would be fine, because that's where they want to go. It's just white male dominance, and everybody else needs to be put back in their place of inferiority. That's what anti-DEI means. It's the code for the N-word. Anyway, so now they're restoring it, but it's interesting to know that is in fact what they did. They used AI to wipe out all trace of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so that's why it's so completely stupid what got done. So the United States has just deported 413 people with no trial, no due process, and without even letting anybody know who they are. So somehow CBS News got a copy of the list, so they know who they are, but they won't even tell anybody, not even their families or lawyers or anything. And here they published a list, so here you can see who they are. So this is, I think, like I say, in my opinion, in the Trump first administration, the strongest defense we have is the free press. Everything else seemed to let us down, the courts, the politicians, and everything, but the free press continued to publish stuff that told us the truth about what was going on. And that's always why Trump has attacked it so vigorously, like every other dictator. That's his real enemy. If he can erase the truth, like Putin does, block all the websites and block all the news so people hear only propaganda, then he can stay in power.
He's almost successful in that because the idea of fake news that started
That's
in
right.
the past administration is still continuing and people believe it.
That's right. He's surprisingly successful here, thanks to the genius of Roger Ailes, who knew how to make the Fox News more fun to watch. So you don't need to erase all the rest. You just need, most of the population will just watch the fun stuff. Just like the grocery store has healthy food and unhealthy food, but most people just buy the unhealthy food and eat it when you give them a choice. So you make it more fun to consume the fake news. That's working, but it's not as powerful as if you actually crushed all the fake news the way Viktor Orban has, or crushed all the real news. Viktor Orban crushed and bought off and crushed and jailed all the people that would publish any real news. And that's certainly what Trump would like to do, and he's very clear about saying this. He said he thinks that he should jail the people at MSNBC and at CNN for daring to publish negative articles about him. So he would like to do that. He would like to shut down all the agencies that dare to criticize him, but he hasn't been able to do it yet.
He had always threatened to use the libel law, but he didn't
Right.
so far.
Well, the libel law doesn't support it. In fact, quite the opposite. Because of satire in the 1960s, there's a special law that says you are allowed to say almost anything about a public figure, even greatly insulting, even not true. But if you're a public figure, people are allowed to make fun of you. Trump doesn't like that, but there's a special law just for that. Which makes sense. You're a politician, people are allowed to say whatever they want about you.
And
Anyway.
also your private life is a little bit shrunk because you need to
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
account of what you do.
That's right. And so now we have this wild, they criticize your family and everything, and that's protected by the First Amendment, at least right now. Now, the Supreme Court may reverse that at any time, but they haven't yet. And so Gavin Newsom seems to have completely gone insane, like Donald Trump. Now he's moving to the right. He's now trying to be a Democrat MAGA, which I don't know who told him to do this. I think he's going to, anyway, people are freaking out. And so they're saying we don't know, the people inside California don't know what to do, just like the people in the nation do not know what to do because they don't know what Trump is going to want because he's crazy. Now people inside California don't know what kind of bills he's going to veto. They don't know what to propose him because our leader is insane. He doesn't even know what side he's on. So you don't know what he's going to, people are now troubled inside California, just like they're troubled in the nation at large. Our leader has gone nuts on us. This is troubling. One thing I said when people talked about this before, I said that we would probably be okay in California because the state would protect us from the feds to some extent, but now that is much less clear. He may well go along with stuff. He's already made it pretty clear he's going to go with their anti-trans stuff. So maybe he'll move into the anti-gay stuff, maybe he'll move into the vaccine denial. Who knows where he's going to go? Evidently, he's revealed as being what the people that hate him always said. He has no principles. He's just a cynical guy. He goes wherever he thinks it will further his ambition. And if he wants to become president, like many Democrats, he seems to think that he can get the red state votes by acting like Trump. I don't think that's true, but that's what they're trying to do. Anyway.
Those people are brainwashed by the spin doctors.
Yeah, and also they have no principles. If you had some principles, you would stick with them, whether people like it or not, and then people would respect you. Like even people on the right generally respect AOC and Bernie because they're sincere. And even people on the left can sometimes respect Trump. He has a certain kind of sincerity in what he's saying. But Gavin Newsom has just revealed himself to have no principles at all.
Leveraging on the momentum because Chuck Schumer is in trouble now with the passing of the budget law.
Well, that sounds like what he would have done too. Just kowtow to the MAGA. That's where he's at also. But I mean, the fact is, Chuck Schumer is
because there is
weak.
a lot of war, internal war in the Democrat Party right now.
There is. The Democrats are not exploiting this situation. I mean, Trump is a disaster, and the Democrats are not stepping up as the alternative. Instead, they're just sort of hiding in the corner and not sure what to do, except for a few, like Bernie.
And they're fighting with each other. This is the problem.
Yeah, they need a leader. And anyway, and so this is amazing. The internet has gone dark in Russia because they blocked Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare, even 8 years ago, was protecting 10% of the whole internet. My website is behind Cloudflare. A whole lot of websites are behind Cloudflare. So if they block Cloudflare, that's a whole lot of the internet gone. So that's why everything's going down. Of course, they don't like it because the whole point of Cloudflare is it makes it difficult to take down a website. And I think it also makes it difficult to censor a website. I'm not quite sure why it would, but anyway, they seem to think it made it difficult to censor the internet. So they just tried to block all of Cloudflare. That part I don't quite understand. But anyway, they must be using primitive firewalls that block by IP address or something. Cloudflare hides your IP address, but the content of the web page is still the same. So a modern firewall, like a Palo Alto, I think would be able to still identify content and block it. And the domain name is still the same, so you could block by domain name. I don't really see why Cloudflare is an anti-censorship engine. It's an anti-DDoS engine, but I don't see why censoring wouldn't work for Cloudflare websites. But Russia seems to have decided to block the whole thing, which means some large part of the internet is gone.
Interesting. So it could be an anti-DDoS?
It is an anti-DDoS.
It is.
If you put your website behind Cloudflare, no connections go directly to your server at all. They can't even see the IP address. They go to Cloudflare and they see all the requests are forwarded from Cloudflare to your server. So Cloudflare protects you from attacks. It conceals your IP address, and it can add extra features. Like in my case, my web server is not even HTTPS. It's HTTP, but Cloudflare adds the HTTPS.
Yes.
And my website is only IP version 4, but Cloudflare adds the IP version 6. You know, they can do all that, and it's all free. And they also block attacks. So that's what it does. But still, your browser says samsclass.info. The DNS resolution is samsclass.info. So if you had a content filter at the level of DNS, it would work. And if you had a content filter that read the contents of the page, it would work. So I don't know why they think you can't have Cloudflare and content filtering. I think you could easily have both. But anyway, apparently whatever they're doing in Russia can't. So it sounds like they're doing something incredibly primitive like blocking IP addresses. And in that case, Cloudflare is a problem because the only IP addresses you see are Cloudflare IPs. And they're always drawn from the same pool. And every website is on the same IP addresses, is what it appears, because you get them all from the same Cloudflare proxy servers.
Okay. When I get the page, something is done wrong, error. So a website that is on Cloudflare,
Yeah.
but sometimes I get the error page. What's the meaning of that error page?
Yeah, what happens is if your server goes down, normally you would get a 404 message or you get a blank page saying can't reach the server. But if you're behind Cloudflare, you get a Cloudflare message saying I can't reach the server, but I have a saved copy of the page you could look at.
Oh, and there what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that Cloudflare kicks in, so you should not see any error page at all.
Well,
you should see the older
Cloudflare,
version of
it will still tell you that the server is down, but you will have a chance to see a cached copy. It's reverse copy. So if you ping samsclass.info, for example, this is not the IP address of my website. That's Cloudflare. And they then forward it to my web server, which is very nice. And the other thing, the main reason people use it is actually because it speeds up your website. You have to handle much less traffic. The traffic is handled by the proxies on the edges. So people everywhere, every country, there's a nearby Cloudflare proxy. So you get a quick response, and it can handle a huge amount of load. That's why a lot of people use it, because your web server only has to answer some of those queries. It caches the pages. So it's that's the main.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought was the main advantage,
I was surprised because I used to, I know the CEO of Cloudflare and I worked with him pretty closely for a while, and I would point out the security issues. He would say, yeah, most of our customers don't even care about security. They don't even care about DDoS. They just want performance. They want their website to load faster. That's why they use us. Anyway, so that's the last one I wanted to show you. Let me stop this recording.